In this episode, I take you with me on the sail from Panama to the beautiful Colombian island San Andres outside of Nicaragua. This island was also the dream of a missing solo sailor friend I hang out with in Jamaica before I sailed to Colombia. Still today, 3 years later, we don't know what happened. In the previous episode, I started my sail towards San Andres to visit my friends from Sailing Sophisticated Lady. But I also have two other reasons for going there before transiting the Panama Canal. More than 2 years ago, I left Panama due to the pandemic, and the canal basically closed in front of my very eyes.
Yeah, they've announced today that canal transits for all boats under 65 foot have been cancelled until the 6th of April.
A few days prior to this, in 2020, I had an incident while being on the hard in SwT Bay Marina. This is not yet settled, so this was also one of the reasons I took the extra cost to a quick stop in Panama and not sail directly to San Andres from Martinique. Hopefully this will be sorted out before I'm back in Panama again. After all, this have cost me quite a lot of money and labor to fix, with no question who to blame here. On the positive side, the marina manager promised to sort this out whilst I'm in San Andres, and I didn't have to pay anything for staying in their marina this time. So I truly hope I soon can share some good news, ending this story in a good way once and for all. Sailing to San Andres is not more than 220 nautical miles from Panama, and I'm really excited to finally being able to visit one of the few islands I have not seen yet. But now I just feel so lucky, as the wind direction is perfect and the fact I actually have any wind at all. I'm pointing north to meet the wind coming from east. That will give me a very smooth ride northwest later. Hopefully 25 knots or even more. When sailing down to Panama, I show you the separation zones and the dense traffic controlled by the Cristobal signal station. Cristobal signal station, this is sailing out B3. When leaving SwT Bay, I again contacted the traffic control and presented them my intentions. As always, they will thank you for the cooperation. I choose to stay at port side and go west of the separation zones before pointing north, due to less traffic and conflict with fast-moving cargo ships. Crossing busy shipping lanes is best done as efficient as possible, and in separation zones it's mandatory to do so in a 90 degrees angle. By sailing west first before going north, I avoid this and only have to focus on anchored ships and logs for the next 10 to 20 nautical miles. Strong current and later waves with lots of momentum pushing from east to west is the main reason for me pointing north, and of course to catch more wind earlier. A frequent made mistake even for experienced sailors is to underestimate the effects of currents and waves, as I'm trying to show here. The stronger current force on your keel, the bigger difference between the course you point and what you actually sail. So, to avoid ending up in Nicaragua or having to do attack later, I choose to sail north, as the current and waves will push me towards west. In less than 4 hours, I have already 30 nautical miles behind me, so the goal of reaching at least 60 nautical miles out before it gets dark is within reach, as my speed is surprisingly good given the conditions. Going north means waves and current against you, until it slowly changes more from east to west. So I was prepared to run my engine for this leg, as it's normally not much wind here. Flying 8 knots in these beautiful conditions is beyond what I could dream about, and definitely not as predicted. This wind will come down to almost zero before I meet a stronger wind from east that will help me to fly across the Caribbean the last 100 nautical miles or so. I could of course sit and wait for wind and add a day or two or even more to this short trip. It is a different story going south, as even with no wind, at least the current gives you some progress in the right direction. An alternative route could be trying to utilize possible wind to avoid these no wind zones, and my track might be looking like this. But I'm not a fanatic and do have an engine capable of assisting me in situations like this. After all, it's a short distance I have to go through, making it meaningless to add several days to such a short sail. It's moonshine on my port side and thunderstorms on my starboard side, meaning colliding weather systems, and it soon will be some systems to dodge, and I'm already planning which will pass in front of me and which I hope to leave behind me. One challenge I did not talk about last time I explained my electrostorm strategy is when it's no rain and difficult to track the weather systems. Sometimes, just like now, lightning comes from clouds without any rain showers. Then I use more old school methods, and I'm lucky to have moonshine helping me out here. By using a very simplified method inspired from a celestial navigation, I sometimes only use a ruler to measure the distance from the horizon to under the cloud. If distance reduces, it's getting closer, or if increasing, it's getting further away. This is not easy and not that accurate, but gives an indication. Easier and more precise is using something fixed things on board, like my Bimini tubes. By aiming, I can see if this goes in front or stays behind me. This method can also be used on other boats without using radar or AIS. But when it's pitch black, this method is not so easy. So moonshine helps a lot, and also so far this has been a much better experience than the predictions said it would be. Being out here, I just love studying the clouds, always trying to improve my skills in reading and understanding. Sometimes I nail it, and sometimes I saw off. It's almost embarrassing. But this is something you can spend your entire life on. Might be a bit nerdy, but it's also quite fun. And I even have some old school books on board to support me, trying to improve my knowledge about wind and weather. B3 is now heeling over to port side, meaning the wind coming in from starboard as I'm still pointing north. This is the wind that I've been expecting, that's coming from the east, that will send me in a fast track to San Andres. Finally, some good sailing, as I'm building up more and more speed. Soon I will average more than 10 knots, sending me in express speed to San Andres. This starts looking very good, and I'm pretty sure I will share a cold beer with my friends pretty soon. It's amazing how my life as a long-distance sailor have changed me so much. When I was younger, sailing to Denmark was real adventure, not to mention the Faroe Islands or Shetland. I just wanted to share this visual to you as a fun fact, because my point is, now with a much faster boat and also used to long distance, what was an adventure before and really long sail back then, now is just a nice day sail. In fact, I expect my last 50 nautical miles to be done in less than 5 hours. This puts things in a perspective compared to old days. Only 30 nautical miles left, and I'm still averaging about 10 knots with good margin. If you pay close attention to the waves and the power, you can see even in the speed I'm flying, the momentum of the waves and the current is strong, enough to even force me to focus staying on course. Imagine if I had not pointed north first, this joyride would be a different story and not as fast. It's not always shortest route is the fastest, and my detour north proves this theory right now. As I'm flying across the Caribbean Sea, I have lots of time to reflect and think, or sometimes reading a book as well. But now I'm thinking about a friend that disappeared not far from here 3 years ago. I'm gonna share some thoughts and facts about this in the next episode, before showing you the beautiful island San Andres. That also was the goal of a friend disappearing on his way here 3 years ago. We left Jamaica on the same day, but from different anchorages after spending 7 weeks together in Jamaica. Today, 3 years later, we still don't know what happened, but of course there are some theories. So one of my reasons for going to San Andres was to see the island my friend dreamt of, but never reached. 12 nautical miles offshore the island, it's mandatory to call the port control on channel 12, stating name of the yacht and captain, nationality and the yacht's flag and even crew on board. To me this is very easy, just stating the fact, crew none, sailing solo. Friendly response from the port authorities thanking for cooperation, and I was given permission to enter Colombian territorial waters. Main anchorage here is a bit tricky with a deep draft, so I'm not only very happy to be ahead of schedule due to fast sailing, but also that Rick and Maddy is coming to meet me, piloting me in to a good place to drop my anchor.
We'll just come back here where Christine and the other boat was.
So it's piracy! Captain Rick have overtaken G3.
Arr, matey, we've seized the yacht. Surrender your women.
There are
You
no
don't have
women.
any? Oh, let's go. Okay, 6.9.
So Rick is piloting me in because it's very poor sharks here, and he's basically local. Lived there for such a long time.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't hired me to bring in the cargo ships yet.
You could ask for being a pilot.
Okay, 5.
It really was a challenge to find our way into the anchorage, as it's surrounded by shallow waters and outside the main channel the maps is far from accurate. So having a pilot in here was a really good help. Still, we had to stop twice and try again to find the channel deep enough to squeeze B3 into this anchorage. Once I was done with anchoring, all the different officials from Health Department, Custom and Immigration and my super friendly and helpful agent Watson was all waiting at the dock. This service just blew me away. Just signing the documents, and Watson even ran to the office scanning my passport while we could enjoy a beer. What a friendly welcome to this beautiful island. I can't wait to explore more after seeing these smiling and friendly faces.
Hey, I've been telling him to come here for 2 years.
Yeah, Rich, yeah.
He finally came.
Rich, I got here for 2 years. I go, oh, Rich, hi, baby, thank you.
I need my okra.
You need your okra. Him be bad here and all. Anasira, him be bad here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Ricardo Jr.
Ricardo Jr. Okay.
No, I have the gun ready.
Salud, amigo. Nice bike.
These bikes is just epic. It's totally ridiculous. I want one, I want one, I want one. It's just crazy.
Nice. Cool colors, huh?
Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, I would really appreciate to see you subscribe to my channel and even hit the notification bell not to miss the next episode. There is not much more to say than stay safe, take care, all the best. Cheers!